Okay, here we are, back in a blank map, and today I wanted to do basically two things in one. First of all, show you how to build an arrow looper, and second of all, be my kinda spooky themed build for this Halloween. So, Aerodynamics are a defunct company, they don't exist anymore. And they used to do a lot of big coasters in the 80s. They were big in the 80s, and the Corkscrew and the Looper are basically their major success. You can still see this kind of coaster in some parks. They were basically everywhere in the 80s, although most of them have been dismantled because of old age, basically. And yeah, we're gonna try and simulate and build one of these. I use the American Looper as the base because it's basically what it is. It's a looper. They couldn't call it Arrow Looper, of course, but they call it American Looper, and we're gonna take that as the model for this coaster. I'm starting off with a 180 turn with the drive tires, and now we are going to go up the hill at around 33 degrees is what these things go up. They're too old for them to do anything else than 33 degrees. I'm stopping at nearly 35 meters of height, and once I am up here, I'm going to take the drive tires and I'm going to go back 180 degrees. This is the model that we are building now, is the usual layout that most loopers had around the 80s, and that you can see in a lot of parks. So I'm going with a tested model instead of building something my own. So we're going down 45 degrees and we're flattening the curve until we get to 0, and here we can build the first loop. These roller coasters used to have 2 loops, one after the other, so that's what we're going to do now. And while you're building this, don't worry about roughness. These things are old, and they weren't built by a computer. Like, they are so old, they were still being drawn by hand, so there was no way to calculate g-forces or anything like that, so you had to rely on experience, what was proven at the time. So if one part is a little bit rougher than the other, don't worry, because that's the effect that they would have in real life, basically. So we're going up here 33 degrees, turning this around. The inclination of the curve, I chose 45 degrees. That's still a lot for the time. Remember, 1980s, so these things are not advanced in terms of engineering. Now that we are here, we are going to have the 2 back-to-back corkscrews. I'm going always right with these, starting right. Okay, and now basically the ride is finished and we can go back to the station. Do we have enough speed for that? Yes, we have. Now, starting from the station to the back, of course, drive tires. I'm turning on the catwalk. Then brakes, a block section, sorry. Then brakes. And now I'm going to connect the 2 as smoothly as I can. Maybe I'm trying to have one smooth corner that connects the 2. Let's try this way. Too tight. Okay, I'll find a way to connect them smoothly as much as possible. Alright, this is a little better. Let's smooth it out. This 2. and there's a nice even turn. Although I still think they are coming in too fast for my liking. We need catwalk here, and let's reduce the speed so they brake heavily. And okay, I have reprofiled the last turn, and now everything is smooth because they came in too fast. So with this configuration, everything is smooth. We are true to real life with the older models, the older Corkscrew models, and the loops. Now we are going to make a maintenance area here. Let's try to be perpendicular with this. No, we are not at all. So I need to turn a little bit more. And for that, I need to turn off the angle snap and be more precise. 0. Okay, perfect. Let's go all the way to the station. Right. And now I need to turn off coaster collisions so I can have these branch out of the main path of the coaster. So I'm disabling coaster collision so that I'm able to merge the two here, like there was a manual switch that we are sadly not able to replicate in the game, but let's imagine there is. Alright, now there's a switch there so that train can go into maintenance. Alright, I have painted the whole ride violet and grey, purple and grey, and yeah, you'll see why in a second. Let's start building the station actually with these haunted house walls, 4 meters in height. So I'm starting to build it from here. Okay. So let's see how many it takes. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's enough. No, I don't want to have another one. Okay, let's complete the station. I'll see you guys in quite a bit at speed what I am building. Okay, the main structure has been done. Now it's time to work on the roof. I'm choosing this corrugated iron roof for this, and I'm going to fill up the whole building from the other side too. And now we need to adjust it, and I'm using the iron roof ridge to close everything off. Okay, now I am using the spooky beams to build the structure of the roof. You can choose whatever you want. I'm choosing the spooky pack DLC ones, and basically what I'm trying to do here is make a structure that would support the roof, and it's kind of barn-like. You'll see when I'm done what I'm talking about. With exposed beams that are gonna be visible from the inside of the building. So I'm going to flip this horizontally if I can. Where's the angle snap? There it is. Turn it the other way. They're still not perfectly aligned, so I'm going to turn it again. I'm trying to face, basically copy the angle. And I have added a central pillar and two supported ones going both left and right. So this is the standard barn roof structuring, and I'm going to have it all across the station at set intervals that I'm trying to measure by using the lines that I have on the roof. I advise for these kind of builds that you build, as I did, the structure itself separated from the build, so you can then copy it and translate it everywhere you need, instead of, you know, having to build it from scratch every time. And this is how it looks from the inside. Now let's add some lighting to this, and I am using the chandelier that I'm placing up. So this is too low, so I'm going to attach it to the supporting roof instead of the horizontal beam, as you're going to see in a second. There you go. Okay, so we don't really need these ones inside of the walls. And yeah, now switching to night, I'm using a colorable area light to give this whole building some ambience that is still gonna be visible in the day. Okay, let's add some detailing to this structure by placing some wooden beams across here, trying to make it less anonymous than it is at the moment. Basically, this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, time for the maintenance shed. We are using the same building, the same walls that we used in the station, and I'm now trying to align this as much as I can with the rail, like this. And now we're going all the way until we find the station itself. Now, if this happens, that you cannot build it because it's too close, and if you go too far, you hit another thing, you can adjust the grid size so you have more precise grid that you can build on. and the squares are closer, so it allows you to still build a building with the tools that the game has, but so it's not freehand, but you're not tied to the 4 meters that are default by the game. I am going to copy this so that it closes off the gap that we're having here with the station. Now this is tricky. I'm going to have to split this from the building and lower it down manually so that it fits. There you go. And now of course I'm going to copy this and reach to the end of the other side, basically closing off that gap that we have there on the right. There you go. Now it seems like it's a single cohesive building, and that's the kind of look that I was going for. It looks okay. Alright, I have worked a little on the pathing here, on the queue lines, by using one of the principles that we spoke about in the last video. And basically, I don't think we use this particular example in the video, but one very similar to it. Now it's time for detailing. Let me get crazy with details here. Try to make this a spooky area, as spooky as I can. See you in a second, guys. This whole area needs to be secured, and what I'm using to do that is this chain link fencing, and I'm going to put it and place it all around the ride so that everyone is safe when approaching, and we don't have people, you know, doing crazy stuff to to the ride itself, and we increase the overall safety of the area. Now I'm using both singles in the rough patches and the long ones, the ones that are already connected, like this one, for the longer parts where I don't need to be that precise, like here. Wait to turn it. Usually when I place fencing, I try to place it on the outside of the beams and the structures that support the coaster. So always on the outside of the supports is what I try to do. So that we don't have crazy people climbing and stuff like that, you know? Even if it's 1980s, there were still some security. Alright, I have placed a sign. This ride now has a name. It is called The Crypt. And by the way, if you made it this far in the video, please subscribe to the channel. You might as well, right? You made it this far. I have placed some other props around. This queue line is great and it's the right size. And once you are through the queue line, you get in the station and you board the Crypt. That is our Arrow Super Loop coaster. I really enjoy this build. Halloween themed or spooky themed is not my cup of tea, as you probably have guessed. A retro vibe is what I was really going after. Like, this was made in the 70s, 80s. I was going for the retro, spooky, classical vibe. Look at that church in the middle. Maybe it's an overkill, but it's there. I'm not gonna move it. The ride itself looks great. We're going to take a ride on it, and I appreciate you guys sticking up with me until the end. I'll see you in the next one then. Please remain seated, keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times, and time to go!